And Michigan's doing that thing where like they give you one really nice day, like super clear skies, gorgeous 70s. And then it gives you a dreary day, gross, overcast, it's awful, it's super cold. Then the next day, it like rains all day long. So yes, this is great for the grass, but also if I go outside, I'm gonna get sick. Oh yeah, baby, spring is in the air. And you know what that means? It is time to pick up those crochet hooks. Now for me, it is crochet season year round. Doesn't matter, hot, cold, whatever, I'm crocheting. But statistically, a lot of people do pick up their crochet hooks once it gets warmer outside. And you know what they're crocheting with? They're crocheting with cotton. Now your auntie Tony used to have a little bit of a weird relationship with cotton because in my head, it was either Lily Sugar and Cream or cotton thread, and I didn't want no parts of either of those. But turns out there is an entire world of cotton out there, and I am on a quest to try all of it, yarn snob style. Hello, my loves. I'm Tony of TL Yarn Crafts, and welcome back. And if you are down to explore the wide world of cotton with me, go ahead and hit that like button. And while you're down there, just mosey on over to the subscribe. They're not too far from each other. You can't miss it. For an undertaking this massive, I needed something a little more detailed than my normal 1 to 10 hook rating system. So behold, the cotton tier ranking system. Now, starting at the bottom, we have left it on the shelf. These are yarns that I would not dream of using, just my personal taste. I'm not here for it. There's something wrong with the texture. There's something wrong with the drape. There's something wrong with it to the point where I just don't even want to see it. Just leave it for somebody else. Get somebody else to do it. And then there's the usable category. These are yarns that are maybe not my personal preference, but there's nothing wholly wrong with them. And for the right project, it might be the right yarn. Going up from there, we have, I like it. It's just, I don't love it. I don't hate it, but I like it. I could see myself using this. There's probably some other yarns I like better, but this one's okay. Next up, we have pretty darn good. These are yarns that I would have no problem recommending to somebody else, no problem reaching for my next project. They're pretty darn good, and I'd be proud to have them in my stash. And then our top tier, our S tier, that is our Yarnicorn. So these are not only pretty darn good, but there is something that tips them over the edge, something that makes them so unique, so different, so interesting, and so fun to work with that this would be a special treat to have in my stash. Those are Yarnicorns. Now that you know the criteria, let's get into reviewing all of these gorgeous cotton yarns. We're gonna kick off this review with some yarns from WeCrochet, and this is the sister site to Knit Picks. So I really love their private label yarns. Of course, Brava is great if you like acrylic. Swish is wonderful for wool. I've used it for a temperature blanket before. The first yarn we're looking at here is called Salvage. This is a sport weight yarn that's 95% cotton with up to 75% of that being recycled cotton, and there's 5% other fibers. Each 50-gram skein is going to run you just $5.99, and you get 155 yards in each ball. We're working with 15 different colors with this yarn, and they span the rainbow. The colors have kind of this calm, casual, weathered look. Here I'm working with Community Garden, which is this nice lush teal, and the other color I got is called Thrift Shop. It's a pale olive yellow. First thing I noticed about this yarn is the fiber content. The yarn is mostly recycled natural fiber, which is an automatic thumbs up from me. Salvage has a delightfully nubbly texture, and it almost looks like tweed without the neps. You've got a 2-ply twisted strand, which I'm sure helps a lot with the strength of this yarn, and with summer on my mind, I am drawn to the lightweight fabric that this fiber creates. And with that, we have our first pretty darn good yarn, mostly because Salvage leaves me wanting more. I've still got questions, so it looks like I'll be taking Salvage on a second date. Next up, we have Animation, which came out not too long ago and was marketed to amigurumi makers, which I thought was a bold choice since the trend right now is kind of for those big fluffy plushies. Here's the skinny on Animation. It's a DK weight 4-ply 100% mercerized cotton yarn. This means it's been treated to have a smoother surface that produces vibrant colors and has a slight sheen. Each 50-gram ball is 139 yards, and you get to choose from 30 really lovely colors. At only $2.99 per skein, this yarn is enticing for amigurumi, accessories, and even garments. This yarn is okay to work with. I've tried other mercerized cottons, and this doesn't really offer anything too unique. I personally like the sheen. It really makes the stitches pop, and the strand is super smooth, so I had no issues with splitting. Now, as far as rating, I'm gonna give this an I like it. It's easy to use, the colors are vibrant, it's machine washable, and it does have a good price tag. I personally don't have a lot of use for a yarn like this, but I can see why others would fall in love with Animation. Last from WeCrochet, we're going to look at Kobu, which is produced by Lion Brand. This is another DK weight yarn, this time made from 51% cotton and 49% rayon from bamboo. WeCrochet sells this for $5.99 per skein and offers 24 colors that mostly land in like pastel territory, but there are some really nice neutrals mixed in there. Each 100 gram cake has 232 yards, and this yarn is machine washable. Now, the short story on the whole rayon from bamboo is this. The fiber comes from a process that extracts cellulose from bamboo and then spins it into rayon, which can be turned into yarn. Now, the jury is still out on whether this process is good or bad, but it does make for a pretty darn nice yarn. Kobu does get a bad rep for being a bit splitty and tough to work with, but in my opinion, the ends justify the means. The final fabric is drapey and silky and has a subtle shine, so call me crazy, but Kobu is going to get a pretty darn good rank from me. The only thing keeping it from hitting that S tier is that the splitty strands leave a little bit of texture on the fabric, which might foreshadow some snagging or even some pilling down the line. Next up, we're looking at yarns from Amazon. Now, personally, I try to keep my distance from Amazon these days, but there are some yarns that you can often find cheaper or faster on their website. One of those yarns is Yarn Art Jeans. Now, if you just happen to skip forearm day at the gym, don't you worry, Yarn Art Jeans to the rescue. First, the specs. This is a sport weight yarn that's 55% cotton and 45% acrylic. The skeins are 50 grams each and give you 174 yards. The price ranges on Amazon, but the skeins I got cost $5.60 each, and there were over 50 colors available. The strand is made from 4 plies that are each 2-strand twists, and the ball band says this yarn is machine washable. Now girl, when I say this yarn had me fighting for my life, I was already skeptical of an acrylic cotton blend anyway, but this yarn surprised me in a bad way. Oh, it was so stiff, I couldn't catch a groove and my hook kept on slipping. Yarn Art Jeans gets the first left on the shelf from me, and I meant that. This yarn has a nice color range and I do like the weight, but if a yarn is knucking and bucking like this, honey, I'ma just jump off the horse. The other yarn I got from Amazon was Premier Home Cotton, which feels a lot like your classic kitchen cotton, got a little bit of a makeover. It's a worsted weight blend of recycled cotton and polyester. It's 4 ply, and each 55 gram ball offers 131 yards. I found this 6-pack on Amazon for $18.95, bringing the cost per skein to about $3.15 each, but there were some individual skeins available on Amazon. They were just a little bit pricier. Now, when I say this yarn feels like kitchen cotton, I'm talking about that utilitarian stuff that's good for pot holders and not much else. But in this case, I didn't want to scratch my eyes out. Maybe the recycling process takes away some of the stiffness, or perhaps the polyester is adding some flexibility. Either way, I'm going to call this yarn usable. Okay, the final swatch has that dry, cottony softness that I'm used to. So if you're looking for a kitchen cotton alternative, you might want to give this one a try. Moving right along, let's take a look at yarns from Purl Soho. This one is for my bougie babes. I love the sophistication of Purl Soho, but it does come with a price tag to match. While you can no longer shop their brick and mortar store in New York, you can find their full collection online. It's not too often that a cotton yarn takes me on an entire journey, but Witch Hazel came out of nowhere and showed me that this fiber has no limits. Witch Hazel is a bulky weight 100% Pima cotton eyelash yarn, meaning that there's one constant strand with short lengths of yarn coming out of it like lashes. It comes in 50 gram cakes with 48 yards each, and you get to choose from 9 peaceful colors. The yarn runs $17 per skein, but at the time of filming, it is on sale for just $12.75. Now, be honest, have you ever seen a 100% Pima cotton eyelash yarn? I know I hadn't, so I was intrigued instantly. The first thing I noticed is how soft this yarn is, which you can expect from Pima cotton, but then it knocks you out with this gorgeous texture. And you might be surprised at how easy it is to crochet with. This yarn is ticking a whole bunch of boxes I didn't even know I had. My friends, we found ourselves a yarnicorn. Witch Hazel feels amazing, is actually fun to crochet with, and I see a zillion uses for it already. Like, how cute would this be as a bucket hat? Witch Hazel has made a fan out of me. The other yarn I got from Purl Soho is called Seraph, and I'll be honest, this one had your girl stumped. It's a DK weight yarn, 100% Peruvian Pima cotton, so we're working with some high quality stuff here. It has this really charming wave texture to it, and the 100 gram skein is going to give you 164 yards. At 18 bucks a pop, currently on sale for $13.50, you can pick from 20 subtly glowing colors. Surprisingly, this yarn is machine washable, and you can even toss it in the dryer. Now let's start with the things that I liked about Seraph, okay? First is the look of the yarn. It's made from a thicker strand of cotton wrapped with a thinner strand of cotton for this undulating effect that kind of looks like pebbles. The final fabric has that Pima cotton sheen, adding to the luxurious feel of this quite fancy yarn. But what I was stuck on is what to do with this yarn. I personally like a yarn to speak to me, and this one was quiet as a church mouse, so I'm dropping it in the I like it category. Seraph is nice enough, but it's not a yarn that I'm really drawn to, particularly compared to some of the other strong contenders on this list. My friends in the Yarn Hive put me up on a new site called Guchet. They offer size-inclusive crochet designs, many of which are honestly perfect for the summer. They also have a nice selection of yarns, hooks, needles, and accessories. The whole site does give kind of a dropship vibe, but it is Black owned, and I love that. The first yarn we're working with is Queen's Cotton. This is a DK weight, 100% organic cotton yarn. One 50 gram ball costs you just $3.50 each, and you get to choose from 36 colors, including solids and these speckly colors. It's got a whole bunch of plies, and it's machine washable. The Guchet website feels like visiting a really good thrift store. It's no frills, and it really focuses on the product. I love that because now there are no marketing or website costs that are passed on to the customer. Oh, and the cotton is really nice too. I especially love the colors at this price point. They are so pigmented and gorgeous. Crocheting with this yarn was super easy, not one split strand, no hassles at all really, and the stitch definition is out of this world. This yarn is giving stash staples, so I'm raking it pretty darn good. It's the kind of yarn you reach for to make everything from dishcloths to a summer cardigan, and I can't think of anything that I'd change about this yarn, but it doesn't quite have that X factor to tip it over into yarnicorn territory. But you best believe I'll be reaching for this when the weather heats up. This next yarn definitely made my ears perk up. It's called Let's Get Cozy. It's also a DK weight yarn, but this is a magical blend of 45% alpaca, 40% cotton, and 15% nylon. I want you to imagine how amazing that feels and then triple it. The strand looks like cotton and alpaca blown into a colorful nylon casing. It's got halo, it's got color, it has my heart. The 50 gram ball offers 154 yards, and there are 18 truly cozy colors on offer for just $3.50 each. The website does recommend hand washing, so keep that in mind when planning your projects. Now, you could have told me there was cotton in this yarn until you were blue in the face, and I never would have believed you. Let's Get Cozy is one of those sleeper yarns that gets better and better with every stitch. Now, I'll be honest, getting started was a little tricky, but you can never judge a yarn till the second row anyway. And the further I got away from that chain, the more I fell in love. You might have already guessed, but Let's Get Cozy is headed to that S tier, baby. It's soft without losing its texture, and you get visually stunning fabric with very minimal effort. Time to switch gears and talk about We Are Knitters. This is a trendy brand that got its fame from offering beginner-friendly knitting kits in sleek, minimal packaging. Their original yarns were pretty mid in my opinion, but they've experimented with a mix of novelty and everyday yarns, which has piqued my interest some. The first yarn from WAC is the Mixed Organic. This is a 100% organic blend of wool and cotton. It's considered a DK weight, and the 100 gram skein yields 273 yards. You're paying a whopping $18.50 per skein, and there are only 7 colors available. There look to be 6 plies in the strand, with half being strongly dyed, likely the wool, and half being lightly dyed, likely the cotton. Wool and cotton blends are getting more and more popular as makers look for yarns that they can use across seasons, and holy cow is this stuff soft. WAC really plays up the softness of this yarn on their site, but it can't compare to feeling it it with your own hands. Sadly, at $18.50 a pop, this yarn is just way too pricey for what you get, so I'm placing it in the I like it category. There are lots of similar yarns like this out there, though I will say this is a bit smoother than other wool cotton blends I've seen. Like the yarn, hate the price, I will be waiting for this one to go on sale. Then I tried the sparkling cotton and she knocked me off my feet. Based on the yardage, I'd call this a DK weight. It's 50 grams and has 142 yards in it. It's 88% cotton and 12% lurex, which is a budget version of stellina. The strand is a chain net construction of cotton with gold lurex held throughout. It's only $4.99 a skein and I really wish there were more than 8 colors available. Prepare yourself. Sparkling cotton is not super soft out of the skein, but it is pretty nice to crochet with, and I'd bet my favorite crochet hook it softens up like butter after blocking. I did get a teensy bit of splitting while I was crocheting, but not enough to put me off. In fact, I really fell in love with the stitching process and the final fabric. It was gorgeous, stretchy, and the fabric has sparkle throughout every single stitch. What really took me over the edge, and the reason that I ranked this one a yarnicorn, is the price. It's only $4.99, which in my eyes is a steal. The listing does say last units, so I'm guessing this yarn is being phased out, so you better go grab you some. I left you a bit of this moss green. You're welcome. Last but not least, let's check out We Are Knitter's Pima Cotton. This one is also considered a DK weight, but at 232 yards per 100 gram skein, it's more like a light worsted in my opinion. Each skein is going to set you back $12.99, and you get to choose from 17 resort-worthy colors. It's 100% Peruvian Pima cotton, which is the creme de la creme, baby. Just keep in mind, WAC does recommend you hand wash this yarn. Now, I remember when the Pima cotton first came out. I loved it then and I love it now. This yarn is buttery soft. Like I want to crochet myself a set of sheets with this stuff. It's got a whole gang of plies, so you know the stitch definition is going to be major. Crocheting with this yarn is nothing short of heavenly, and the final fabric has a luster that feels sophisticated and rich. Wax Pima cotton is headed to the pretty darn good tier. Is this a groundbreaking yarn? Not really. If anything, it does feel similar to Guchet's Queen's Cotton, so it's only fair that they end up in the same category. One of my favorite local yarn stores ever is called Michigan Fine Yarns. It's based in Livonia, Michigan, so if you're ever in the area, do yourself a favor and stop in. Not only is this place huge, but they have it separated with kind of your fancier yarn on one side and your budget yarn on the other side, so you can go straight to whatever you need. What really makes this place special though is the staff, especially the owner, Swarren. I have zero business going in there, but they really do make you want to come back. For the stitchers in the know, I'm sure there was a collective whoop when I took Bamboo Pop out of the bag. Universal Yarns Bamboo Pop is a DK weight blend of half cotton and half bamboo. The 100 gram donut skein holds 292 yards of super soft and smooth yarn. You can find over 40 colors of Bamboo Pop on Michigan Fine Yarns website, but take a moment to check the whole selection of over 60 colors on Universal Yarns website. The strand has 6 plies, each being a 2-ply strand itself. One ball costs $10.50 and the manufacturer recommends hand washing. Now, in case you didn't know how spectacular bamboo was, it's best known for its thermal regulation. It keeps you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. It's also naturally moisture wicking and highly sustainable. Now that the science lesson is over, let's go ahead and shimmy Bamboo Pop up to that yarnicorn tier where it belongs. If summer wearables and accessories are your jam, this is definitely a yarn you need to keep in your stash. And just look at this colorway. It's called Stripe and it has me daydreaming about another hexagranny cardigan right now. Circulo is a Brazilian-based brand that's slowly making their way into the US market with their plant-based yarns. I decided to try out their fingering weight mercerized cotton. I paid $12 for a whopping 547 yards and had 24 highly saturated colors to choose from. We're working with 2 plies here and the finished fabric is machine washable. Now, if you recall, we worked with WeCrochet's animation at the top of the video and held next to Circulo's they're basically twins. and is just a little bit lighter. It has the same luster that mercerization gives, as well as that vibrant color. Crocheting with this yarn is fine, if a little splitty at some points, but nothing too infuriating. I'm gonna rate this yarn a generous I like it because it feels like a means to an end kind of yarn. Stitching with this is not going to be the most riveting experience, but whatever you make from it will have amazing drape and last for generations. If you do want to step up the excitement a little bit and does come in some tonal and variegated colors, I'm quite partial to the colors Park and Marshmallow. We've got another Pima cotton contender on the list. This time it's Malabrigo Verano. Malabrigo was my first foray into luxury yarns, and products like Verano keep me coming back. We've got a worsted weight yarn this time, and we get to choose from 34 colors on Michigan Fine Yarns website. They cost $16 each and come in solids, tonals, and variegated shades. This yarn really does check all the boxes. It is butter soft like you come to expect from Pima cotton. It's got a subtle glow, and the strand is made from multiple plies, which is becoming a trend for Pima cotton yarns. All of this together makes for some very enjoyable crocheting. This is the kind of yarn you're gonna pull out to make that sarong you need for summer vacation, then take the extras to the beach for some stitching in the sun. Verano fits nicely in the pretty darn good category. It's not fussy or sparkly. Instead, it's an elevated everyday yarn that plays well with the garments, accessories, and precious baby items on your to make list. So Queensland makes this thing called a rainbow cake. It's a category 2 sport weight cake yarn. It has a base color and then self-striping sections of rainbow colors. The cake has 875 yards in it, and there are 8 different colorways available from Michigan Fine Yarns. The skein is 200 grams for $30, so if I just imagine that being two $15 skeins, it makes me hate this yarn a little bit less. Now, my mama said if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing. So I'm gonna keep it brief on this Queensland rainbow cake. My biggest gripe with this yarn is the construction of the strand. The yarn is 4 2-ply strands, but they're not twisted tight enough, and that's a one-way ticket to Splitsville. Now, I try not to judge a yarn too early, but bestie, these strands were running from me from the first stitch. By row 4, I was this close to leaving this one on the shelf, but I realized it's more my preferences that kept me from liking this yarn as opposed to the yarn itself. So I'm gonna be nice today, and I'm gonna put this in the usable category, and maybe if you crochet a little bit slower than I do and aren't as impatient as I am, you might like it. But for me and my stash, this one is a hard pass. The last yarn we'll look at from Michigan Fine Yarns is Circulo's Aloe Vera. Here we have a nice fluffy worsted weight yarn with 132 yards in each 100 gram skein. It's made from 30% aloe, 30% cotton, and 40% viscose. Michigan Fine Yarns carries all 10 timeless colors to help bring your projects to life. The strand is 3 lightly twisted plies that are then plied together. You can get your hands on aloe vera for $15 a skein, and it is machine washable. Sometimes the only word you can use to describe a yarn is yummy, and Circulo's aloe vera is yummy. Like so many other plant fibers, aloe is breathable, strong, and antibacterial. Extracted from the aloe vera plant that we all know and love, this fiber is bound to become more prevalent on yarn store shelves. As for this yarn, it is a dream come to life. The multiple strands make this light and lofty, and the soft sheen gives an elevated look to the final stitches. And speaking of stitches, are you seeing the uniformity? Circulo's aloe vera is headed straight to the Yarnicorn tier for me, and I am dying to make something with this ASAP. If you have wool allergies and need a go-to worsted for wearables, this, my darling, is the one for you. Now, for all of y'all whining that there's no luxury hand-dyed cellulose yarns, may I present Exhibit A, LeRoo Cotton. Kathleen opened her shop in 2019 because, living in the South, she had a tiny window of time to wear her handmade items. Now she offers hand-dyed cotton, tencel, bamboo, and linen blends for a wool-free stitch experience. The first yarn I tried was her Cotton Bamboo DK. It's a 50% organic cotton and 50% bamboo yarn. I have become quite partial to bamboo cotton blends with this video, and I'm excited to see this one. The 100-gram skein gives you 46 yards, and there's a rotating stock of yarns, so be sure to check back often. The strand looks surprisingly like my beloved merino wool, but it has that soft feel of plant fibers. One skein did cost me $24, but keep in mind, this is hand-dyed. Now, from the moment I caked up this yarn, I knew it was something special. It is so springy and so bouncy that I have a hard time believing that there's actually no wool in here. Once I had my fill of just squishing it, it was time to actually crochet, and it just kept getting better. Not a split strand to be had, and the yarn felt like it was giving my fingers a hug. Cotton Bamboo DK is headed for the pretty darn good category, and it is just one finished whip away from being a yarnicorn. And all of this is underlined by the fact that this is hand-dyed yarn. And I know I've said that already, but dyeing plant-based fiber is an arduous task. I have tried it, and it is not fun, but LeRoo Cotton has stepped up to the task, offering an alternative for our plant-based stitchers, because they deserve nice things too. The other yarn I picked up from LeRoo Cotton is their vegan sock base, and I can safely say I have never seen a yarn like this before in my life. This is a category 1 sock weight yarn that's a blend of tencel, organic cotton, and elastic. You get 377 yards in the 100-gram skein, and they'll set you back $26 a piece. The strand is very interesting. It looks to be pretty tightly spun, and the elastic is left undyed for a nice tonal variation. It's just as stretchy as you'd imagine, which had me equal parts intrigued and confused. So nothing left to do but stitch with it, and your girl was struggling. The long and short of this is I did not like crocheting with this yarn. It's like it was too stretchy, so it was fighting me the whole time. The elastic made it tricky to keep my tension, and that nubby texture made it hard to find my loops. So I'm going to rate this one as usable, but with a footnote. I'm not too proud to admit when a yarn seems more suitable for knitting, and I think we found one. I would try this yarn with Tunisian crochet, but today it's just not that serious. The last shop we'll explore today is called Wool & Co. Now, this is one of my pandemic finds, and they are a massive yarn shop based in Illinois. I placed countless orders with them because for whatever reason, they seem to have everything. Let's jump right in with Juniper Moon Cirrus. Here's another DK weight yarn to check out. This one is 100% Israeli Mako cotton, which is definitely top shelf. There are 328 yards in the 100-gram skein, and it's gonna cost you $22. There are 21 beachy solid colors available on Wool & Co.'s website, and it feels akin to Purl Soho palette, so if you like what they have, you'll probably like these colors. The strand is a very loose chainette, which was promising until I remembered that I loathe Mako cotton. Now don't get me wrong, this is definitely a luxury fiber. Mako cotton is right up there with Pima cotton. They both have those long staple lengths and they're perfect for warm weather wearables. We all have our sensory issues though, and Mako cotton triggers me like none other. Now do you know that dryness that you experience when stitching with roving wool? For me, it's like that, but imagine it's cotton. Now in my totally biased opinion, Cirrus can be left on the shelf. There are so many great Pima cottons out there, and I can even find other plant-based chainette yarns. There is no reason for me to ever use this yarn. Throw it away. Barocco is known for pushing boundaries when it comes to unique yarn blends, but this might be a stitch too far. Meet Papery, a summer worsted weight blend of 90% cotton and, you guessed it, paper. It comes in 50-gram balls with 110 yards in each and costs $12. To make this yarn a perfectly good strand of speckled cotton is wrapped in a ribbon of colorful paper. Okay, but like, why? I still have no idea. And they somehow developed 8 different colorways with this concept. At least it's machine washable, I guess. But will it crochet? Turns out, yeah, and pretty well at that. I was concerned the paper would get in the way or be too stiff, but it was actually okay. The paper doesn't really lay well in the final stitches, so you get some folds and some edges where there shouldn't be, so I'm gonna rate this yarn as usable. Sure, it's fine, I guess, but it kind of feels like novelty for novelty's sake, and if this is a sustainability effort, I really feel like we could do better. Let's turn this review around a little bit with one of my tried and true brands, Scapious, or as I like to call them, sheepies. If the aliens came down to Earth and asked to see a mercerized cotton, I would show them Scapious Katona. This is a Category 1 fingering weight mercerized cotton that comes in 50-gram balls. For just $3.80 a skein, you can pick from 113 different colors, each packed with 136 yards. I held this one up side by side with WeCrochet's animation, and they might as well be twins. Katona can be machine washed, but it's suggested that you lay it flat to dry. This yarn is just a delight. The stitch definition is excellent. It's breathable with pretty, prominent sheen. It's really perfect for everything from amigurumi to a wedding dress, and look at these colors. And the price, you really can't beat it. Honey, this is a yarnicorn if I've ever seen one. I'm actually using this yarn to crochet granny squares based off the books that I'm reading this year, and I get so excited to reach for this project every month. I could go on, but this is one you really should try for yourself. If you need a yarn to keep you cool throughout summer's wardrobe changes, Lang's Oceana might be that girl. It's a sport weight yarn that's 70% cotton and 30% viscose. It comes in 50-gram skeins with 153 yards in each. The 23 gorgeous solid colors have me craving a visit to an all-inclusive resort. They are just so pretty, and there are plenty of plies in this strand, so we know the skein is going to give some good squish. They're $10 a piece, so just know that it'll add up quick. Definitely use this yarn for something special. Now, summer has a lot of the girlies crocheting crop tops, maxi skirts, and full-on dresses. If you're wearing crochet top to toe, you're gonna need something breathable. The viscose in Oceana actually comes from sea cell fibers, which is a derivative of brown algae from seaweed. Not only is this fabric moisture wicking, but it's also biodegradable. The texture is more like a cotton acrylic blend, dry to the touch with a slightly sturdier feel, but I think it would probably block like a dream. Crocheting with this yarn was quite nice. I especially liked how even the color was throughout the swatch. I'm gonna rate this one as an I like it. I think it'll be perfect for the right project, but who's to say when I'm gonna get around to that? Okay, babes, let's just take a little bit of a breather because we just went through 23 different cotton yarns. But would you be surprised to know I have not even made it through the entire bag of yarns that I purchased for this video. I still have yarns from Lovecrafts, from Hobie, from Terrapin Fibers, from Wool in the Gang. I haven't reviewed my own yarn, Happy Place, half wool, half cotton, really nice stuff that is coming back, I swear to you. And you know what I also did a review? That yarn from the Dollar Tree, that Premier Cotton that everybody's talking about. I still got to try that too. It was a little too much for just one video, but if you're down, I'm down to do a part 2, but you're gonna have to let me know in the comments. And speaking of giving your opinions, what did you think about my ratings? Would you agree for the most part, or would you say I was totally off base? And speaking of, what cotton yarns are you planning to use this spring, summer, and what are you making? I know I personally always say that I'm going to crochet myself a dress for the summer, and I've yet to do it. I have been seeing those really cute like top and bottom sets, like with the skirt with the cute little split up the side, the cute little tippity top, and I don't know, maybe I'll do one of those this year. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But I mean, who knows? Maybe I will. Ooh, and with like a little bag to match. I don't know. It could be wishful thinking, but don't be surprised if I step out looking real fly in my cotton this summer. Okay, lovelies, that's it for today. So drop down in the comments, tell me all the things. Let's have a little chitty chat, a little kiki. And until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.